Picture a scrawny girl sneered at, yanked into a shadowy storage room by heartless bullies, only to unleash a strength that turns their laughter into screams. This isn't just a story. It's a pulse-pounding saga of revenge, grit, and shocking twists that'll grip you from the first word. Subscribe now for adrenaline-charged tales that hit hard and leave you breathless. Don't miss the ride. The bell rang at 3 p.m., unleashing a tidal wave of students into the chaotic arteries of Westbridge High. Sneakers squealed against linoleum, lockers slammed like war drums, and voices collided in a chorus of gossip. Laughter and the occasional bark from a hall monitor. In the middle of it all moved Ellie Harper. Or rather, flowed. Unnoticed. Unseen. She walked with her shoulders slightly hunched, backpack pulled tight, eyes fixed on the ground like she'd memorized every crack in the tile. Not because she was shy, but because she couldn't afford to be seen. 16, junior year, a face no one remembered, a name rarely spoken unless it was whispered in mockery. Weasel, they called her, a cruel nickname that stuck years ago and festered. Behind her, laughter trailed like smoke. Jake, Carver's laugh, sharp, smug, laced with venom. Mia Reynolds with her phone always ready to record someone else's misery. Tyler Voss, quiet but cruel in the shadows. They were the apex crew, not popular, powerful. The kind of students who knew where the weak spots were, emotional and physical, and how to press until something broke. Ellie had spent 3 years making sure that something wasn't her. In fifth period history, the room buzzed with boredom. Mr. Dorson lectured in monotone about the Treaty of Versailles. Ellie sat in the back, pretending to scribble notes. Then, flick. A crumpled piece of paper bounced off her temple and landed on her desk. Her face didn't flinch, but her heart jumped. She waited until the teacher turned around. Slowly, she opened. At storage room, 3:30. Be there, Weasel, or we'll find you, signed only by the handwriting she knew too well. Jake's. The words were short, but the message was loud. They weren't inviting her. They were hunting her. For the rest of the day, time crawled. Ellie barely heard her math teacher. In chem, she didn't light her burner. She just kept thinking, what did they know? What did they want? And most importantly, why today? By the time the final bell rang, most students had vanished. Some to sports practice, others to bus stops. Ellie stood at the edge of the east wing, facing a hallway no one used anymore. It smelled of dust and old paint. Faded murals from a decade ago peeled off the walls. The farther she walked, the more distant the school felt. She stopped at the door. Storage B12. The paint was chipped, letters barely readable. Her hand hovered over the knob. Her instincts screamed, don't go in. But she wasn't wired to back down, not anymore. Then without warning, the door flew open. A hand, Mia's, snatched her inside. Ellie stumbled into a stale, dim room that smelled of mildew and rust. A single bulb swayed above like a noose, casting jerky shadows. Boxes stacked in every corner. Old uniforms. Broken trophies. Jake leaned against a shelf, arms crossed, mouth curled in that cruel smile. Well, look who showed up, he said. Tyler. Closed the door behind them. The click echoed. Mia shoved Ellie forward, her acrylic nails digging into Ellie's shoulder. You know why you're here, don't you? She hissed. We've been watching. Ellie's eyes darted between them. Her pulse thundered. Then Mia pulled out her phone and hit a button. A blurry video played, shot from the balcony of the gym. A figure, Ellie, moving like liquid shadow, kicking, spinning, striking a heavy bag with perfect control. She felt the blood drain from her face. Jake stepped closer. You've been hiding something, Weasel. Who knew you were some kind of ninja? Freak? Mia's smile widened. Imagine if the school saw this, all those moves, we could post it tonight. Ellie's breath hitched. Her mind raced. She'd trained in secret. Late nights, lights off, blinds down, she was so careful. So damn careful. Her father had trained her since she was 6. Before he disappeared. Before the whispers. Wing Chun. Krav Maga. Filipino stick fighting. He never told her why, only that it was important. The body is a tool, he used to say. But a controlled mind is the real weapon. For years, those teachings were her anchor, her shield, her identity. But now, they were bait. Jake grabbed her sweater, yanked her forward. Make a little video for us. Say what we tell you. Or, this goes online. Whole school gets a laugh. Tyler loomed beside him. Silent but threatening. Ellie didn't move. Her heart pounded. Her fists trembled inside her sleeves. Then, something inside her uncoiled. Not rage. Resolve. She looked up. No, she said. Soft but clear. Jake blinked. What? I said no. Mia scoffed. You don't get to say no. Ellie moved. She twisted her wrist, breaking Jake's grip, stepped in, pivoted, and sent him sprawling with a sweep. He landed hard, wheezing. Tyler lunged, but Ellie sidestepped, used his own momentum, slammed him into a shelf. Mia shrieked, scrambled back, dropped her phone. Ellie stomped it into shards. Jake groaned, getting to his knees. You little, she cut him off with a jab to the gut. He crumpled again. You think I'm weak, she said, her voice cold. Because I kept quiet. Because I didn't fight back. She looked at them, scattered and stunned. You were wrong. The door slammed. Open Mr. Callahan, the janitor. Late 50s. Sharp eyes, oil-stained jumpsuit. What in God's name? Jake found his breath. She attacked us. She's crazy. Ellie didn't speak. What could she say? Then Callahan reached into his pocket, pulled out a small recorder, pressed play. From the speaker, Jake's threats, Mia's voice, Tyler blocking. The door, Callahan sighed. Been recording this room since the seniors started vandalizing it in 21. Guess it finally paid off. Jake froze. Mia burst into tears. Tyler slumped. You three are done, Callahan growled. Out. Now. They stumbled past him, beaten. Callahan turned to Ellie. You all right? She nodded. You could have told someone. No one would have believed me. He paused. Maybe not, but I would have. She looked at him, confused. Then he added softly, Your father taught me, back in the day, Daniel Harper. He was something else. Ellie's chest tightened. You've got his eyes, his fire, but listen to me. He stepped closer. That kind of skill, it puts you on a path, a dangerous one, be smart. Then he was gone. Door swinging shut behind him. Ellie stood alone, heart pounding, light flickering. Her world had changed. Later that night, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Nice moves, Harper. But you're not the only one with secrets. Watch your back. She stared at the message. Outside, headlights lingered too long on her street. A shadow moved on the rooftop across the road. Somewhere, someone was watching, and they knew what she could do. Ever since the incident in the storage room, Ellie had become a ghost with sharp edges, visible only when necessary, dangerous when provoked. Her gym sessions had evolved from an escape into ritual, discipline, purpose. But her growing skill hadn't gone unnoticed. Someone had been watching. At first, it was the feeling of eyes on her back, a locker door that wouldn't stay shut, a hallway that fell silent when she entered. Then came the messages, cryptic, taunting, knowing. The more precise her movements became, the bolder the threats. You're not just gifted, Harper. You're marked. But marked for what? At home, Ellie wore a mask of indifference. Her mother, Karen, chalked up her daughter's silence and late nights to the usual teenage storm. A nurse with back-to-back shifts, Karen barely had time to notice the dark circles under Ellie's eyes or the tension carved into her shoulders. She wanted to connect, but exhaustion won every night. Then one evening, while digging through her mother's closet for a scarf, Ellie's fingers brushed against something out of place. Buried beneath a pile of winter blankets was a locked wooden box, worn smooth with age. Its edges were singed, like it had survived a fire. Her heart picked up speed. She retrieved a hairpin from her ponytail and knelt beside the box. It clicked open after a few patient seconds. a trick she'd picked up years ago from a dog-eared library book no one noticed her reading. Inside, a small pile of aged photographs, a bundle of letters tied with red twine, and a pendant unlike anything she'd seen before. A serpent, saffron gold, coiled around a dagger. Below it, a folded note in handwriting that halted her breath. Daniel Harper, her father's pen, the Order of the Saffron Veil. Her fingers trembled as she traced the words. The letters told a story, one hidden in the shadows between the lines. Her father hadn't just been a martial arts instructor. He'd been part of something older, clandestine, dangerous, an elite society, hidden in plain sight, devoted to preserving ancient fighting arts and guarding knowledge passed down for centuries. One letter, dated just weeks before he vanished, spoke of a mission and a traitor. Ellie's world tilted. Was her training more than just bonding? Had he been preparing her for this? Her thoughts returned to Callahan, the janitor with eyes too sharp, reflexes too fast. She started watching him more closely. His movements, his timing. He never limped, never coughed. He moved like a man trained to move. She wasn't the only one watching. One afternoon in the library, she noticed someone sketching. A quiet freshman, Sam Patel, curled over his notebook. His page showed an almost photo-perfect rendering of the storage room door. He caught her gaze, startled, and closed the sketch. The next day he approached her in the stairwell, voice shaking but eyes determined. "I saw what happened," he whispered. "I didn't tell anyone. You were amazing." Ellie didn't know what to say, but somehow she trusted him. Sam, it turned out, had spent years hiding too, his stutter making him an easy target. Like her, he'd learned to exist on the periphery. A strange, quiet bond formed between them. Sam became her shadow, watching halls, decoding strange symbols, logging suspicious movements. When she received another message, "You can't run from your legacy, Harper," he helped trace it to a burner phone. Dead end. But that wasn't the only clue. In the attic, under a loose floorboard, Ellie found it, her father's old journal. The pages were stained, the ink faded. But within were diagrams of combat forms, coded symbols, cryptic entries. One, line Childer. If they find her, they'll have to choose. Choose what? Choose who? The second twist came during the winter showcase. It was supposed to be harmless. Students presenting projects in front of an auditorium packed with parents and peers. Ellie stood backstage, nervous and bored. Then her phone buzzed. Look left. She turned. Her breath caught. A hooded figure stood in the wings, unmoving, watching. She slipped through a side exit, her instincts on fire. The figure followed, silent and precise, leading her through an emergency stairwell and onto the school's rooftop, deserted and bitter cold. There, beneath the December stars, the figure pulled back her hood. Not a stranger, a girl, maybe 19, sharp eyes, familiar posture. And around her neck, the same pendant Ellie had found in the box. "I'm Laya," she said, voice calm but edged. "Your sister." Ellie's world fractured. "Sister?" Laya nodded. "He trained me too. Before he disappeared. Before he left me with a foster family to keep me safe from the enemies of the Order. Their father, it turned out, had been hunting a traitor within the Order when he vanished. Laya had grown up preparing for war. She'd found Ellie through the pendant, the letters, and yes, the messages. "I had to see if you were ready," she said, "if you could survive. Because the Veil knows about you. The Saffron Veil, rogue faction that had splintered from the Order, craving power, not balance. They'd been watching Ellie since childhood, waiting for the right moment." Just then, the rooftop door creaked open. Callahan stepped into the moonlight, janitor's badge catching the glow. "Told you to keep your head down, kid," he muttered. But there was pride in his voice. He pulled back his sleeve, revealing a tattoo, the serpent and dagger. He'd been guarding Ellie all along. The Apex crew? That was a coincidence. But it forced your hand. They saw what you could do. And now the Veil has seen too. He looked away, his voice tightening. They're coming, and you're not ready. The final blow came at prom. Ellie hadn't planned on going, but Sam had insisted, said blending in might buy her time. So she borrowed a dress, slipped into the crowd, danced awkwardly beneath disco lights. Then, darkness. The lights went out. Gasps. Murmurs. When they returned, 3 figures stood at the entrance: Jake, Mia, Tyler. But something was wrong. Their eyes blank, focused, too still. Laya's warning echoed. The veil can control people, turn them into weapons. The gym exploded into chaos. Jake lunged with a blade, his body moving with unnatural rhythm. Ellie twisted away, her foot slamming into his wrist. The knife clattered. Mia screamed, hurling a metal chair. Ellie ducked, flipping over a table, using it as a shield as Tyler charged. Laya and Callahan arrived like shadows, silent, swift, lethal. Even Sam fought, tripping Mia with a shaky but well-timed kick, giving Ellie an opening. A second later, Mia was out cold. By the end, the Apex trio lay unconscious, the trance broken. But then came the real enemy. Mr. Dawson, the history teacher, the one who always asked too many questions, the one who always watched. He stepped into the wreckage, calm amid the storm. "This isn't over, Harper," he said, voice cool and even. "The veil sees you." And then, he vanished into the fleeing crowd. Ellie stood alone, dress torn, hands trembling. Laya hugged her tight. "We're family now," she whispered. "We fight together." Callahan nodded, eyes grave. "Your dad believed in you. You've proven him right." In the aftermath, the school blamed a prank gone wrong. The Apex crew faced expulsion, memories, fogged by whatever toxin the veil had used. But Ellie knew better. She and Laya trained daily, decoding the journal, preparing for the next strike. Sam became her anchor, his sketchbook now filled with illustrations of her mid-fight, a quiet tribute to her strength. Karen, finally seeing the truth in her daughter's eyes, opened up about Daniel, his paranoia, his long absences, his unspoken burden. She vowed to stand beside Ellie. The whispers at school changed. Some called her a freak, others called her a warrior. No one dared cross her again. The messages stopped, but Ellie knew. The veil was still out there, watching, waiting. And next time, she wouldn't just survive, she'd make them pay.